He was the heavyweight champion of the world, feared inside the ring, respected outside of it. But when his career collapsed, so did his love life. And the woman he chose over his wife? She walked away when he needed her the most. Why do so many athletes rise to fame with women who stood by them in the struggle, only to replace them with women who vanish when the money dries up? Just ask Deontay Wilder, because his story is the perfect example. From a loyal wife in Alabama, to a Filipino model accused of chasing clout, to another racially ambiguous fiancé, Deontay Wilder's love life tells a story most athletes don't want you to hear. Back in 2005, Deontay Wilder's life changed in more ways than one. He and his girlfriend at the time, Jessica Scales, welcomed their first child. But their joy was quickly met with challenge. The baby was born with spina bifida, a serious spinal condition. Wilder didn't have money or stability, but he had determination. That's when he made the choice to chase a career in boxing, hoping it could provide the future his family needed. By 2008, Wilder was not only turning professional in the ring, but also making Jessica his wife. At that point in his life, it seemed like everything was falling into place. He had a young family, a wife who stood by him through his struggles, and a career that was beginning to take shape. For a while, life looked good. Wilder quickly built momentum in the boxing world, rising through the ranks with knockout power that fans couldn't ignore. His hard work paid off. Before long, he wasn't just another fighter chasing a paycheck. He became the heavyweight champion of the world. With that title came fame, respect, and the kind of wealth he could only have dreamed about when he first laced up his gloves. Jessica was there through all of it. Together, they raised 3 children and built a life that, from the outside, looked picture perfect. But behind the public success, the private story was different. By 2017, almost 10 years into their marriage, the couple quietly divorced. There wasn't much drama in the media, just the quiet unraveling of a relationship that had begun long before Wilder became a global name. Not long after, in 2018, Wilder stepped out publicly with someone new, Taylor Swift. Her presence instantly stirred conversation. Fans couldn't help but notice the contrast between Jessica, his Alabama-born wife who embodied his Southern roots, and Taylor, who carried herself with an entirely different vibe. Many assumed she was black at first glance, but it was soon revealed that Taylor was actually Filipino. That revelation opened the door for even more scrutiny. Taylor was already known in certain circles, especially around the boxing world, and not always in the best way. Rumors followed her, claims from boxers and insiders who said she had a history with other athletes, warning Wilder not to get involved. Whether true or exaggerated, the talk painted her as someone who thrived on being connected to men with fame and money. Still, Wilder seemed smitten, and the two built a life together. Their relationship lasted for years, and Taylor even gave birth to another child with Wilder. But by 2024, the cracks were undeniable. Taylor publicly accused Wilder of domestic abuse, claiming the behavior stretched back to the very beginning of their relationship in 2018. 6 years of alleged mistreatment became headlines, sparking heated debates. Some believed her. Others wondered why such serious claims were only surfacing after Wilder's career had taken a downturn. And that downturn was brutal. After years of being one of the most feared men in boxing, Wilder hit a rough patch. He began losing fights, 5 out of his last 6. The aura of invincibility was gone, and with each loss, his star dimmed. Observers couldn't help but notice the timing. When the wins and money were flowing, Taylor was by his side, soaking up the spotlight. But once the losses piled up, she moved on. By the time their relationship collapsed, she was linked to NFL safety John Johnson III, while Wilder was left to pick up the pieces of both his career and personal life. To many fans, the situation felt like déjà vu. Here was the man who had once left his wife, the woman who had been with him during the hardest times, only to be abandoned by the woman he chose afterward. It was the kind of story that sparked debate not just about Wilder, but about a broader pattern seen among successful athletes and entertainers. As athletes climb the ladder of success, their preferences often seem to change. Early in their careers, they are with women from their own communities, the ones who understand their struggles and support them through lean years. But once they make it, their partners often look different: lighter skin, mixed heritage, or non-black altogether. Some argue it's about access. Fame introduces them to new social circles. Others believe it's about perception. Lighter-skinned partners are seen as symbols of success, trophies that signal a man has arrived. The problem, critics argue, is that these choices are often based on image, not substance. A woman's skin tone, her looks, or her social status becomes more important than her character, loyalty, or intentions. And when a relationship is built on those shallow foundations, it often collapses under pressure. That's exactly what many believe happened with Wilder and Taylor Swift. She was glamorous, beautiful, and different from the women he grew up around. But when his career stumbled, her loyalty evaporated. This isn't just about Wilder, though. Kevin Garnett, countless NFL players, and other high-profile athletes have found themselves in similar situations, choosing women who looked like the dream, but weren't truly invested in the man behind the fame. The lesson is the same. Beauty and status don't guarantee love or commitment. For Wilder, the cycle didn't stop with Telly. Not long after, he appeared with another fiancée, a woman whose background again reflected his shift away from his roots. Observers pointed out the clear pattern, from a black Southern wife, to a Filipino partner, to another racially ambiguous fiancé. Each step seemed to reinforce the idea that Wilder no longer saw women from his own community as desirable once he reached the top. But beneath all the gossip and speculation lies a deeper question. What do these choices say about how men like Wilder see themselves? If darker-skinned women remind them of struggle and lighter women symbolize success, what does that say about their view of blackness, womanhood, and loyalty? And more importantly, what does it cost them in the end? Wilder's story is more than just boxing victories and broken relationships. It's a reflection of how fame, money, and perception can reshape a man's identity and his idea of love. And as we've seen, chasing image over substance rarely ends well. Telly's arrival sparked conversation. Wilder's first wife, Jessica, was a Southern black woman, the kind many fans saw as a reflection of his roots. Telly, however, was different. Many assumed she was black as well, but she turned out to be Filipino. Her background and her reputation in boxing circles became hot topics. Some fighters even claimed they'd warned Wilder about her, saying she was well known in the boxing community for the wrong reasons. Despite the criticism, Wilder and Telly stayed together. She even gave birth to another child with him, and for a while, it seemed like they had found some stability. But by 2024, everything began to fall apart. That year, Telly went public with serious accusations, claiming that Wilder had been abusive toward her for 6 years, the entire span of their relationship. The allegations shocked fans and divided public opinion. Some believed her instantly, pointing out how often abuse hides behind closed doors, especially in high-profile relationships where image matters more than truth. Others were skeptical, questioning why such claims only surfaced after Wilder's career began to decline. Either way, the damage was done. The accusations alone painted a dark picture of a man once celebrated as a hero in the ring. But abuse wasn't the only shadow over their relationship. Even before the claims, many fans and critics questioned Telly's loyalty. To them, she always seemed more invested in her own spotlight than in Wilder's well-being. At post-fight press conferences or red carpet appearances, observers noticed that she carried herself like the main attraction, not the partner of a heavyweight champion. Instead of being seen as his support system during rough patches, she was often accused of chasing clout and attention. And those rough patches were brutal. Wilder's career, once unstoppable, began to spiral downward. After years of dominance, he suddenly couldn't find his footing. He lost 5 out of 6 fights, a streak that tarnished his once intimidating reputation. The same man who had been feared for his knockout power now looked vulnerable in the ring. The losses hit hard, not just financially, but emotionally. Boxing isn't just a sport. For Wilder, it was his lifeline, the way he lifted himself and his family out of poverty. Losing meant more than defeat. It meant questioning his identity. During this time, many noticed a shift in Telly's behavior. She was less visible in her support, less enthusiastic in public, and, according to some, emotionally distant. To critics, it looked like she was biding her time, waiting for the moment to step away. And when Wilder hit his lowest point, that's exactly what she did. By the time 2024 closed, Telly had moved on, this time to NFL safety John Johnson III, a younger athlete with a promising future. The news spread quickly. Wilder's partner of 6 years, the woman he had once chosen over his wife, was now with someone else. The public reaction was harsh. Many fans pointed out the irony. Wilder had left a loyal wife from his own community for a woman whose loyalty was questioned from the start, only to be left when he needed her most. The situation sparked a bigger conversation, one that stretched beyond Wilder himself. Why do so many successful Black athletes follow the same pattern? They begin their rise with women who know them deeply, women from their neighborhoods, their communities, their roots. But once the money and fame arrive, their partners often change. They begin dating women who are lighter-skinned, racially ambiguous, or from entirely different backgrounds. For some, it's about access. With new status comes entry into social circles where those types of women are more common. For others, it's about perception. A lighter-skinned or exotic-looking partner becomes a symbol of making it, a way to show they've leveled up. But as Wilder's story illustrates, image doesn't guarantee substance. Choosing a partner based on looks, status, or social clout often leaves the relationship hollow. When adversity comes, whether it's losing fights, financial troubles, or personal struggles, the foundation collapses. Critics argue that this is exactly what happened with Wilder and Telly. Their relationship was built on appearances, not on real commitment, and once his star began to dim, so did her presence. What makes the story even more complicated is how Wilder's pattern continued. After Telly, he appeared with yet another fiancée, once again someone racially ambiguous, not resembling the wife who had been with him during his early years. This sparked debate about preferences, identity, and what success does to personal choices. Is it wrong for Wilder, or any man, to be drawn to women outside his community? Of course not. But when the pattern consistently shows a shift from dark-skinned women who supported the struggle to lighter women who symbolize success, it raises questions about self-perception and values. The larger issue isn't just about skin tone. It's about what these choices represent. Too many men, especially in sports and entertainment, chase the idea of status over substance. They see relationships as another accessory to success, rather than a partnership built on loyalty and shared values. And when they fall, the consequences are harsh. For Wilder, the fallout was public and painful. His reputation in the ring was battered, his personal life was under scrutiny, and the woman he thought would stand beside him through it all had walked away. Fans who once admired his rise now looked at his story as a cautionary tale. The lesson? Success can open doors, but it can also cloud judgment. Chasing image, chasing what looks good on paper, often leaves men vulnerable to heartbreak when the shine fades. What matters most in a partner isn't complexion, background, or status. It's loyalty, understanding, and genuine care. Without those, even the strongest champion can be left standing alone. Those tough moments came fast. After dominating for years, Wilder began losing. His aura of invincibility faded. The same fighter who had once terrified opponents with knockout power suddenly looked vulnerable. In fact, he dropped 5 of his last 6 fights, a devastating skid for someone who had built his entire identity on being untouchable in the ring. For a man who had risen from poverty to global stardom through boxing, those losses weren't just professional setbacks. They shook his confidence and forced him to question who he was without the victories. And when his career hit its lowest point, Telly left. She didn't leave quietly either. Almost immediately, news broke that she was connected to John Johnson III, a safety in the NFL with the Los Angeles Rams. The story spread quickly, fueling headlines and online debates. To fans, the optics were obvious. As soon as Wilder's shine dimmed, Telly was gone, moving on to the next athlete with money, youth, and a brighter future. For Wilder, the blow wasn't just about losing a partner. It was about betrayal. He had chosen her, defended her, and built a life with her despite years of rumors about her reputation in boxing circles. He gave her a family, a platform, and the spotlight. Yet when his career stumbled, she disappeared, leaving him to pick up the pieces of both his personal life and his legacy. The irony wasn't lost on anyone. Fans pointed out that Wilder had left his first wife, Jessica, the woman who had been by his side during his struggles, only to be abandoned by the woman he replaced her with. It became a cautionary tale about loyalty, choices, and the risks that come with chasing image over substance. The situation also raised a bigger conversation about athletes and the partners they choose once they reach fame. Many start out with women from their own communities, women who understand their journey and stand by them through the grind. But as success grows, those same athletes often shift toward women who look different, lighter-skinned, racially ambiguous, or foreign. For some, it's about access to new social spaces. For others, it's about what those women represent: success, status, and validation. But Wilder's story shows the danger in that mindset. A relationship built on appearance or clout rarely survives when adversity hits. And when the foundation isn't solid, the cracks show quickly. In Wilder's case, The cracks became headlines. In the end, Wilder was left with the hardest fight of his career, rebuilding his life, without the stability he once thought he had. The man who had knocked out giants was now facing battles outside the ring, where no amount of punching power could save him. And the lesson was clear: in love, just like in boxing, it's not about who looks good standing beside you, it's about who's still standing when the fight gets tough. The irony wasn't lost on fans. Here was the same woman Wilder supposedly chose over his wife, now walking away when things got rough. And now, Wilder is engaged again, this time to another woman whose background, like Telly's, is racially ambiguous. To many, it's a clear shift in his preferences, from a black Southern wife to a Filipino partner to another non-black fiancé. This shift has sparked bigger conversations. Some people applaud him, saying lighter or non-black partners bring less drama. Others criticize him, pointing out the pattern among wealthy black athletes, starting out with women from their own community, but once fame and money arrive, leaning toward women who are lighter or whiter. Them of their past struggles, their ex-wives, their mothers, or women from their community. And it's not just in sports. Across entertainment and even in Africa, lighter-skinned or mixed-race women are often treated as more desirable. People like Tommy Sotomayor even joke, if she's white, life stays nice and quiet. The idea is that a lighter-skinned woman will bring fewer problems. But here's the reality: skin tone doesn't guarantee peace. Just ask Kevin Garnett or countless NFL players whose marriages crumbled regardless of complexion. Take Deontay Wilder's situation. He left his wife for Telly Swift, who is already well known in the boxing world. Her looks got her plenty of attention, but her loyalty was always in question. Wilder, coming from Alabama where women like her aren't common, was drawn in. But in the end, when his career started sliding, she walked away. That's the risk when you choose someone based more on appearance than on real connection. The bigger issue is this: too many brothers chase women who look the part, instead of women who genuinely care about them. To get these exotic women, men feel they have to conquer the world, be rich, famous, and powerful. Meanwhile, many of these women don't have to prove anything. They just show up. And when the money or fame runs dry, they move on to the next man. That's why the question should never be, is she light-skinned, mixed, or foreign? The real question is, does she love you? Does she respect you? Do you share values, or is the relationship built only on looks and status? Because if it's the latter, the ending is almost always ugly. Wilder found that out the hard way. He was losing fights, and before long, Telly was gone, moving on to another athlete while he was left to rebuild his life. The sad part? Many men still see getting a lighter-skinned woman as a sign they made it. But if she's only there for what she can get out of you, then who really wins? And here's another point. Why do women like Telly Filipino, with her own background and community, almost exclusively date wealthy black men? Why not men from her own community? Simple. Because being a single mom or chasing clout wouldn't carry the same value there. Yet with black men, the door stays open. They'll accept it. And when things go wrong, they're the ones left carrying the weight. That's the trap. Too many brothers demand less from these women than they demand from us. And at the end of the day, it's us who end up losing. So the lesson is clear: stop chasing skin tone. Stop chasing the illusion of status. Look for a woman who's truly for you, not for what you represent.